I wasn't invited. Not this year, not last year, not for the past 10 years. The email arrived on a Tuesday. The subject line sounded cheerful, desperate to seem warm. Whitmore Family Retreat 2025, RSVP by Friday. I knew it wasn't meant for me before I even opened it, but I clicked anyway. Everyone was there. Camille, of course, her husband, their kids, Aunt Janine from Savannah, Uncle Roger, still wearing that ridiculous fishing hat in every photo, even Cousin Lily, who once stole my prom dress and denied it without blinking. But not me. No typo, no close call, no Carla, no Clara, just empty space where my name should have been. That kind of exclusion doesn't scream. It hums quietly like a fridge running in the background until one day, the silence makes you realize it's gone. I sat in my office in Santa Monica, glass walls, deadlines, degrees, a corner view I fought hard to earn. But the room felt cold in a way no California sun could fix. I stared at the email again, then at my name missing, as if it never belonged. I almost closed the laptop. Almost. But something pushed me to open a new tab. I typed in the address of the beach house where the retreat had always been, a wide, whitewashed home on the Georgia coast, porch swing, twinkle lights, the last place I saw my father laugh before his stroke stole that from us. And there it was, a new listing. Not for rent. For sale. No group text. No phone call. Not even a just so you know. I read every line. Price lowered. Seller motivated. Deed under review. I recognized the agent, the same woman who handled my grandmother's property. And just like that, the air shifted. They were getting rid of it. Quietly. Like they got rid of me, like I was just another memory to unload. But I wasn't angry. Not yet. I closed the tab and glanced at the bookshelf behind me. There it was, the turquoise shell my father gave me when I was 9. You think in tides, Clara, he said, don't ever let them make you small. That's when the idea took hold. They erased my name from every invitation. But I still knew how to sign one. The thing about being erased is no one ever tells you it's happening. It starts slow. One missed call. One family photo posted without you. One empty seat at a dinner table where no one asks where you are. At first, I tried. Sent Christmas gifts. Joined the group chat while it still had my name. Flew home for Thanksgiving, even when the flight cost more than my rent. I offered to help with mom's mortgage when Camille's boys needed braces. I did what youngest daughters do, show up, stay quiet, be useful. But usefulness only lasts so long. Camille always took the spotlight. Warm, photogenic, loud in that charming way. She hosted baby showers with signature cocktails, designed matching reunion t-shirts, and once called me from Michael's to ask if I preferred teal or coral for the beach house table settings. I told her, I don't think I'm coming this year. She said, that's okay, Clara, we'll save you a plate. But no one did. After Dad's stroke, I flew out alone. Sat with him in the hospital while Camille was too overwhelmed and Mom couldn't bear to see him like that. I fed him, read Steinbeck aloud. When he finally spoke, his voice cracked. You came that winter. I asked Mom about estate plans, not for money, just to understand what would happen to the house, the accounts, the trust Dad mentioned. She smiled tightly. Camille and I have it covered. Don't worry your pretty head. I stopped asking. The last time I tried to visit the beach house, the spare key was gone. Camille said they changed the locks after a break-in. But I never heard about any break-in. I started skipping holidays. Sent cards that never got replies. Stopped correcting them when they called me busy or distant on Facebook. One day, Mom posted a throwback photo of Camille and Dad on the beach, sunset behind them. I recognized the photo, I took it. I was right there, just out of frame. She had cropped me out. That was the year I stopped sending gifts. But I didn't stop watching. Savannah, my old neighbor now working as a paralegal, still kept me in the loop quietly. Screenshots, snippets, email threads I'd been deleted from. They think you disappeared, she said once, but you've just been listening. I wasn't gone. I was waiting. Sometimes the people who forget you the fastest are the ones most afraid of what happens when you come back. I didn't buy the house out of revenge. I bought it because I was done pretending my absence was a mistake. The listing had been live for 13 days, quiet. No announcement, no family group text. Just a hidden for sale link buried in a real estate newsletter I almost deleted. The house wasn't even under the Whitmore name anymore. It had been moved to an LLC likely set up by Camille after Dad died. A shell company to keep things clean. I knew that language. I worked in corporate strategy. I'd seen this move 100 times. But I wasn't mad. I was calculating. I printed the documents. Called a friend in property law. Scheduled a call with Savannah that night. She ran a title search in under 10 minutes and found something we hadn't expected. A clause in the trust tied directly to me. Dad's original trust had a fallback clause. If the estate fell into delinquency, missed taxes, lapsed insurance, or failure to disclose assets, the secondary beneficiary, me, could claim full title. The taxes had lapsed, so had the insurance. It wasn't oversight, it was laziness, arrogance. Camille and Mom probably assumed the house could just sit half-used, half theirs until they got around to figuring things out. But Dad had built a back door, just in case. Savannah's voice was quiet. If you want it, Clara, it's yours, no fight necessary. I didn't answer immediately. I just looked at the turquoise shell on my desk, still whole after all these years. I remembered the day Dad handed it to me, brushing sand from the edges like it was sacred. You think in tides, he'd said, not waves, you come back stronger. That night, I opened a fresh spreadsheet. My finances, stock options, liquid savings, discretionary funds. I wasn't flashy rich like Camille pretended to be on Instagram, but I had built something steady, quiet, mine. 2 days later, I called the listing agent. She didn't recognize my name until I said, Whitmore, Clara, Thomas's daughter. A pause. Oh, you're the other one. Yes, the other one. I signed the purchase documents under the fallback clause. No announcement, no drama. Then I logged into the guest portal and booked one room, the master suite, 3 nights. Check-in, Friday. Guest, Miss C. Whitmore. Under preferences, I typed, please place 1 bottle of Perrier Jouet on ice. Guest prefers firm pillows, cotton sheets, and full privacy. When the confirmation came through, I didn't smile, I didn't cry. I just sat still. They had erased me from the invitation. I had just added myself to the deed. I arrived early, not to intercept, not to gloat, just to see the house again before they touched it. It looked smaller than I remembered. Or maybe I had grown. The porch swing was still crooked, the shutters chipped. Someone had swapped the lantern for a cheap solar bulb, but it still moved the same in the wind like it had waited for me. I didn't stay long. Just long enough to check that the champagne was chilled, the sheets were turned down, and my name was spelled right in the registry. Then I left. I parked 2 streets over in a rented sedan and waited. At 6:42 p.m., Camille's white Audi pulled up. Her husband got out first, wrestling with bags. The kids followed, already bickering. Camille stepped out last, sunglasses perched like a crown. Then came Mom, riding in Uncle Roger's SUV. She wore her linen set white on white with pearls and tinted lip balm. The uniform of a Southern woman ready to deny with grace. They rolled their luggage up the steps, laughter, instructions, familiar choreography. Camille led them to reception. And then everything stopped. The front desk clerk, a young woman with a pixie cut, said the words plainly, like reporting the weather. I'm sorry, I don't have any of your names on the guest reservation. Are you with Miss Clara Whitmore's party? Camille blinked. I'm sorry, whose party? Miss Clara Whitmore. She has the full reservation. The name hit like glass shattering on tile. Silence followed, not awkward, not expectant. The kind that rewrites the entire room. I stepped out of the car then, not for spectacle, just because it was time. My heels clicked softly as I walked into the lobby. I didn't look at Camille, I didn't need to. I can clarify, I said to the clerk. I'm Miss Whitmore, the deed finalized 2 weeks ago. Camille turned, face tight. You bought the house? Yes. Mom's voice wavered. But, why would you do this? I met her gaze, not cold, not cruel, just finished. Because I was never invited, but I was never gone. Camille stepped forward, arms rigid. You think this is funny, that hijacking our family trip proves something? No, I said calmly, it settles something. I handed my ID to the clerk. Anyone not on my guest list should be politely escorted, but be kind, I added. Their family. The clerk hesitated, then nodded. Behind me, silence. Not a protest, not a plea. Just the sound of realization settling in. They turned away from the desk, wordless, no scenes, no shouting. Just tight shoulders and the weight of what they could no longer undo. I didn't follow. I didn't need to. They knew now. That was enough. Or so I thought. The next morning, a news van arrived. White with blue lettering, parked beyond the hedges. A man in a button-down shirt, too much gel, stood in front with a mic, squinting into the camera like he was breaking a scandal. I didn't open the door. But once the segment aired, my phone lit up, texts, emails, voicemails. One from a former coworker I hadn't spoken to in years. Is it true? You took your family's house through a legal loophole while your dad was sick? The headline read, Daughter uses trust clause to oust family from generational property. They made me sound like a villain in heels. The article quoted a close family source who claimed dad had been mentally declining and manipulated into giving me control. No name, but I didn't need one. Camille always knew how to weaponize sympathy. I didn't respond. Didn't post. Didn't defend myself. I called Savannah. Time, I said. She didn't ask for more. I'll send the file in 15. What she sent was sharp, clean, chronological. Screenshots of texts between Camille and Mom. Don't worry, Clara's not coming again. She makes everything about herself. She's too busy proving something to care about family. Audio files. 2. One mid-lunch speakerphone call. Camille's voice, unmistakable. Clara was always too fragile for this family. Let her rot in her condo. We're better off. But the most important file was a video shot 2 summers ago. Dad sat on the back porch, wrapped in a blanket, holding a chipped mug. I was just off camera. His voice was soft, but steady. I want Clara to have this place. Camille makes things loud, but Clara makes things last. I hadn't watched the video since the day we recorded it. I'd saved it for a moment like this. The next morning, I uploaded everything to a secure drive and sent the link to one person, a journalist I trusted. Years ago, she wrote a feature on elder care, inheritance disputes, and the silent damage families don't talk about. No caption, no commentary, just a note. This is the full story. Decide what matters. It didn't go viral. It didn't need to. By afternoon, the original headline vanished. The station issued a quiet correction. The flood of messages slowed to a trickle. That night, Savannah texted 3 words, "They're quiet. You ready?" I stood at the window, the ocean black and endless beneath the moonlight. Yes. The courthouse smelled like dust and disinfectant. I arrived early. No legal entourage, no designer briefcase. Just me, in the navy dress my grandmother once called steel-willed blue, and a folder tucked firmly under my arm. Inside that folder was everything they thought would stay buried. Camille was already there, dressed in white from head to toe. Her mouth was a thin line that could have sliced paper. She didn't look at me, but her fingers tapped her phone fast, nervous. Mom sat beside her, pearls trembling slightly with each breath. She glanced up, then looked away. The clerk called the case. Whitmore v. Whitmore, petition for injunction on disputed property, claim of undue influence and elder manipulation. Their attorney stood first, young, slick, all tan and teeth. He spoke in polished legalese, intent, vulnerability, family trust. He called me arranged, let it hang in the air like a threat. I didn't flinch. When it was my turn, I stood with steady hands. Your Honor, I'd like to submit video and audio evidence reflecting my father's clear intent and mental capacity. The judge nodded, the lights dimmed. On screen, Dad in his porch chair, wrapped in a blanket, voice calm, eyes clear. I want Clara to have this place. Camille makes things loud. Clara makes things last. She's the only one who came after the fall, the only one who didn't ask for anything. A pause. Then, it's not about fairness, it's about memory. Next came the audio recording, Camille's voice sharp and unmistakable. Let her rot in her condo. She was never part of this family. She should have been easier to control. Silence followed. But not stunned silence. Resigned silence. The kind that comes when the lie is no longer possible. The judge leaned back, tapped his pen. Once, twice. This court finds no merit in the petition. The evidence confirms clarity of mind and specific intent by the deceased. The plaintiff's language suggests exclusion, not confusion. He removed his glasses. This court does not fix family, it enforces law, and in this case, the law is clear. Gavel down. Petition denied. Camille stood, fists clenched but unmoving. Mom didn't rise, her eyes were glassy, but dry. I collected my folder and walked out. No backward glance, no final word. Reporters waited on the steps outside. One mic leaned in with half a question. Do you have anything to say to your family? I paused. No, I said. I already said it. I just used quieter words. Then I walked on. The house was still when I returned. No bags on the porch, no voices. Just ocean wind and the hush of something long overdue. Inside, it looked the same, but lighter. Like a weight had been lifted from the walls. I walked room to room. Ran my fingers along the wood banister. Straightened the edge of a rug. Listened to the silence settle. In the office, I opened the bottom drawer of Dad's desk, the one they never emptied. Inside, the wind chime we made when I was 9. Seashells strung on fishing line, knotted in blue thread. One shell still faintly marked, CW. I sat cross-legged on the floor and began untangling it. Not to make it perfect. Just to restore what still mattered. Savannah arrived with a bottle of wine and a roll of paper towels. You didn't think I'd let you claim victory without cleaning windows, did you? She said, grinning. We cleaned in silence. Not just dust, but years of dismissal. Of being treated like footnotes in someone else's story. At sunset, I hung the wind chime outside the kitchen window. It caught the breeze and began to sway like it remembered how to move. Later, we sat on the porch. 2 glasses, one sky. Savannah asked, "What now?" I looked toward the horizon. They said I left, that I drifted, but I didn't go anywhere. A pause. They just stopped seeing me. We didn't toast. We didn't celebrate. We just sat there, quiet, listening to the sea breathe. That night, I turned off the lights one room at a time, from the inside. If this story stirred something quiet in you, something you haven't said out loud in years, you're not alone. There are more of us than you think. People who didn't walk away. We were just never called back. If you've ever been written out of your own story, leave a comment. Or just a word. So the silence doesn't win this time. We read everyone.